Howdy there, everybody. Did not realize I did not plan it quite correctly. Hey there, Maelstrom. Did not realize everything would go to black. Messed that up. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the theme as well. It was a little tune that was in my head when I was thinking about this game, and I figured I would make it for real. By the way, it is not easy to try and wear a cowboy hat on top of headphones. It doesn't really work all that well. It kind of sits awkwardly high on top of the head, but like if you lean down, it kind of hides it. Sort of, not really. Anyway, yeah, this is, so I don't know if you've ever seen Parks and Recreation, but you know how Ron shows up to the two Halloween parties dressed as a pirate, and he's just like, this is my Halloween costume. That's kind of my this. It's like, this is my costume. I've got some cowboy garb, and it seemed perfectly fitting for this game. Anyway, welcome. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who are clearly here waiting and anticipating this stream. This is our very, very first game of Ironsworn Western Frontier. And before we dive right into it, I'm going to take a little bit of a moment here to talk to you a little bit more concretely about what Ironsworn is all about. Because we've kind of skirted around the edge. I've told you a little bit. I've mentioned before how what's super intriguing to me about this is that from the ground up, this game is designed to be playable in the way we're doing it tonight, which is one player. Now, I don't mean one-on-one. I don't mean one DM or one storyteller and one player. You can do it that way too, but this is designed so that if you want to just do what I'm doing right now and just play entirely by yourself, you can do it. I've tested it out. I've done it before. It works out really nice. Welcome, Wood Nickel. Welcome, Project Lego and Maelstrom. So it's super cool. The way it works is it is based on the Apocalypse engine. So for those of you unfamiliar with Apocalypse World, it has spawned a lot of different RPGs, and there are various features of it, some powered by the Apocalypse games, as they're called, use some use others, some use more of them, some use less. This is a game that is kind of, it's taken that core and definitely tweaked it a little bit. But one of the core tenets, which is the idea of making rolls using your abilities and having either misses, weak hits, or strong hits happening as a result, is definitely a big part of this game. Love the outfit. You asked if you're wearing. I am. I decided I would actually put on, because I've got matching pants as well. So I put on the full outfit. I included pants. I figured just in case, if I was gonna wear the costume, I'd wear the whole thing, which means it's gonna be a little bit hot tonight. But yeah, so this game is built around the idea that any given roll is mechanically slated towards getting weak hits, which means you're probably going to get what you want, but you're probably going to get some consequences along the way. The math seems to be balanced to make sure those are going to be what happen most of the time. It depends. You can certainly get some strong hits, but a lot of the time, things are going to happen with consequences, and these consequences are great because they tend to push the story forward. The other way that the game kind of helps make sure that you can do this as just one player is there are a lot of just like what are called oracles in this game, which will help randomly generate, like, you know, what you need to come up with a person on the fly. Okay, they're like this, and maybe this is their name, or what's the deal with this settlement? What's its problem? Sorry, I'm just grabbing something. I'm gonna put back on my chair. You know, what's the problem with this settlement? Or you know, what strange things happen? There's a lot of random generators for, like, if you get backed into a corner and you're like, I don't know, I can't think of anything, maybe this will inspire me. But those are always your last resort. The mechanics always tell you, like, if there's something that just makes sense as a consequence, go with that. Don't randomly generate something just to randomly generate something. Like, only do it when necessary. So yeah, it's a really cool game that can support all kinds of play. It is, I should mention right now, for those of you who want to play along at home and want to read over these mechanics as I'm kind of talking about them to you, one of the other really cool things about this game, it is 100% free. If you would like to grab the PDF right now and be able to follow along and help me out as necessary, ironswornrpg.com. I'm going to put it in chat. www. That's one too many W's. ironswornrpg.com. I put it in chat. If you go to that link, you will be able to get the free PDF as well as free all sorts of other just like supplemental PDFs. If you really like the game, you can certainly buy a hard copy of it or a soft copy, but Don't need to. It's all available online, so you can kind of follow along and know what I'm talking about. But now that we're going to get a little bit more into the nuts and bolts of it, why don't I switch over into my Roll20 view? So we can see what an Ironsworn character sheet looks like. Now, I've already done a tiny amount of prep. I had some ideas about what kind of character I would want to play. So don't worry about... hold on, let me scroll up. There we go. Don't worry about these just yet. I'll get into what they are. They're called assets, but don't worry about them yet. Let's just look at this central sheet here. All I've filled in so far is the character's name. I've had this name in my head for many, many years now. I just like the sound of the name Coyote Devereaux. So it's going to be the name of my guy. I'm going to finally turn this into a character. He's always been just like this vague character name, but I've never actually played a Coyote Devereaux before. So, breaking him out. Welcome, Briar Cub. By the way, I'm drinking Diet Coke right now just to get enough hydration, but I think as the night goes on, probably going to have to, just for thematic purposes, if nothing else, switch over to some bourbon. I'll be drinking whiskey along with this game. So let's go over this character sheet real quick. You might notice that central to this sheet, taking up most of the room, you see right here, vows. So what are these vows? What are they all about? Hey, welcome, Fromage. Get into that in a second, once we listen to your theme. So, it's gonna be fading out. There we go. So if you're here during any of my Burning Wheel streams, I was talking about what's so cool about that game. They're kind of similar. They're very similar to Beliefs. They have a similar kind of function, but these are, if anything, more mechanically just like intertwined with the game. So Ironsworn is all in its core, because it's not actually supposed to be a Western setting. It's at its core, it is a setting where it's kind of like this harsh land where all of these like far more medieval type people are like just trying to get by in their life. It's all small settlements and, you know, like villages that each have their own problems, and there are these people called the Ironsworn that are they kind of roam the land, and it's their job to solve the problems and fight monsters and all sorts of. They're the adventurers. They're called Ironsworn, and they're called that because in the fiction of the base game, there's kind of a magic to swearing on iron. If you have a piece of iron, anything that's made of iron, it could be a sword, it could be just a hunk of iron, it could be an iron coin, whatever. If you swear a vow while holding this piece of iron, you're just like your soul is like bound to it. You are iron sworn. At the very least, if you're one of these people. And so throughout this game, you're going to be making vows and setting kind of a difficulty to them, like how difficult you think it's going to be to achieve this vow. You might see on the bottom here, you have troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, and epic. It's kind of it's all a, you know, self-metric sort of thing. Hey, welcome back, Fluffabun. Good to see you back. It's all about being honest with yourself, especially when you're doing a game where you're running it for yourself like this, where it's just like, well, sure, you could cheat and say that they're all like, oh, they're all just the easiest vow. I'm going to solve them just like that. But really, you're only cheating yourself out of a fun time. So you rate how difficult it's going to be to complete it. And then over the course of the story, you're going to kind of tick off these boxes working towards completing the vow. And eventually you can basically test to see, like, did I pull off my vow? Like, did I do it without repercussions? Stuff like that. So that's vows. It's kind of the central idea of this game. It's what pushes you forward. And like Beliefs, you know, you just write in whatever you want there. You're setting for yourself, like, what is my character about? What do I swear to accomplish? What is my goal? Now I work towards that. Which, if you are a DM of this game, or storyteller or whatever, is super handy, just like Beliefs, to be able to look at the character sheets and go like, oh, okay, what's my session going to be about? Let me look to the vows. It is completely free. I don't know if it'll show up in your chat or not. I typed it in before. I'll type it in one more time. You can make roll. Okay. So for tonight's purposes, there's the link in chat once again. You can pull up the PDF. It is 100% free. Sean Tompkin has done an amazing job of releasing an actually like really polished product for completely free. There is a print version that is for pay, but if you just want the PDF, go ahead, pick it up. It's right there at that website. Now, as for you guys, there will be rolls to be made. I'm basically going to be leaning on chat to help me with inspiration. Because, for instance, I'm just going to pretend to make a roll right now, and I'm going to assume that it was a weak hit. Let me pull up some kind of a move. Like, if you're familiar with Powered by the Apocalypse games, you know that a lot of them tend to be about these moves, where, like, in certain situations, you have the ability to do this. Let me pull up one of them for example. Also because I didn't pull them up before, and I'm totally going to need them. 1 second here. Okay, let me pull up my moves reference, PDF, and my rules reference, and then the full rulebook just in case we need that, though ideally not. Okay. The link worked? Okay, awesome. So yeah, that's the website. All freely available right there. Nice. So, let me pull up my moves reference. I'm going to pretend to have made a move here. So, let's say that I'm trying to, draw the circle. All right, bad example. Let's, this will better represent what I'm trying to, represent. Okay, let's say that I'm doing the move Undertake a Journey, which is when you travel across hazardous or unfamiliar land, set the rank of your journey. So we rate how difficult this journey is going to be, and like we encounter things along the way. So I make a roll and something happens, and we reach a waypoint. And well, let's assume that I got a miss on this. I rolled really poorly. I get a miss, which says you are waylaid by a perilous event. It's time to pay the price. So in a situation like this, maybe I have an idea of what it would be depending on the situation. It's like, oh, obviously the price has got to be this. This happens, the fiction works out. It's a very fiction-first kind of game. But maybe I'm running a little bit dry. And I'm going to be leaning on chat all night, especially once I start knocking into the bourbon a little bit more. Leaning on chat to have cool ideas. If you think of something, shout it out. I may not take it. It'll depend on the situation, but I'm looking to forge this world with you guys. I have some vague ideas about the way the world will work. If you've been following my Twitter, you may have participated in a few of the polls already.
For instance, has purchased
yeah, I'm not going to be doing those.
A forbidden word.
Feel free to use your monies on them, but I'm going to be ignoring them. So you may have participated in some of the polls that have happened already that have, I know. That have done a couple of things. For one, the entire reason we're doing this as a Western is because of one of those polls. I was reading the RPG and I was realizing like so much about this works with that flavor as well, and I sure do like cowboy shit. So we had a poll that turned it into a Western. We had a poll that determined a little bit about back east. So I guess I might as well go into a little bit about the world that we're going to be setting up, because I want you guys to be thinking about this and helping me like shape this into something a little bit more concrete. Because all I know right now is I'm basing it a little bit off of, if you've ever played the RPG Deadlands, which we talked about on Friday, it takes place in what's known as the Weird West. Now, in Deadlands, this actually is like an alternate history Civil War thing, which I'm not interested in. I don't want to have to worry about real people and real histories and like real geography or anything like that, so this is going to be like Wild West flavored, but it's not going to take place in the actual Wild West of America. Like, all these places are going to be just made up places. We're not going to worry about that. We can have analogs. We can have a Texas analog, but like, we're not going to worry about making things correspond too completely. It's just whatever suits our purpose. It's not real historical figures. It's not real historical places. But like Deadlands, I want there to be some spooky magic kind of stuff. Like, I would love there to be, devilry and like, maybe if things go really wrong, zombies coming up, things like that. Like, nothing too just like, wizards throwing fireballs around or anything like that. But I want there to be just that, like, magic around the fringes. Like Borderlands, Wild West, but not actually a place. Yeah, in that respect, yes. Certainly less sci-fi than Borderlands, but that sort of thing where it's like, it's got a lot of those trappings, but we're not going to actually do... What about... See, enchanted revolvers? I'm totally all about that. Because, as we mentioned with this idea of swearing on iron, I figured in this world... Here's some of the ideas I've had. Ironsworn in this world, I feel like they're like Texas Rangers in a sense, where like, especially in Deadlands, if you're familiar with that game, where like they're like the Wild West samurai that like they're all the men with no name that travel around the landscape. swearing on that, that cold iron in their hand to, swearing on iron and lead to do stuff. It's like the Shadow of Mordor game, in a sense. They go around solving everybody's problems and just doing shit. In this Wild West area, it's the frontier lands where, like, things are a lot more spaced out. It's a little bit more lawless, like the Wild West. But, as in the game Ironsworn, straight from the PDF, has kind of, like, the old lands, like, where everybody came from. Like, not everybody is in the Iron Lands. Which, first of all, I'll get into that in just a second, who is Coyote Devereaux. I've got some character ideas, and I'm willing to hear some suggestions on that as well. But, so in the, in Ironsworn, there's the understanding that there's kind of like the other place where everybody came from, and it's like, it's far away, and it's not expected we're going to go back there, but like, it exists. This place there that's less harsh than the Iron Lands, which in this case we're going to just refer to always as back east. Now, our latest Twitter poll determined why we left back east. So, like, there's this whole life and civilization out here in the, I don't know what we're going to call this Western frontier, but for now, the Western frontier. There's civilization out here. It is a Wild West kind of situation. Like, there are less big cities and stuff. But the Twitter poll determined that back east, the reason why we've all left is back east, there is just a horrible plague happening there. Like, sickness is spreading. At least I'm nearly certain that was the one that won. Hold on, let me make sure that I didn't cheat people out of the winning result. I'm nearly certain that was the winning option, right? It was that there was a there was just a, hold on, yeah, what's going on back east? Let me pull up this poll. It's too late to vote now. Yes, okay, that was the winning option. There's a plague spreading, and the
viewer has joined
really
the Jester's Court.
Colonel Sanders, 14 months in a row. Welcome back, buddy. Welcome to the Jester's Court. Welcome to our very first Ironsworn stream. Good to see you. Yes, so there's a sickness back east. Now, I want to leave it vague. This game, I think, will work best when we don't try and fill in all the holes to begin with. We're going to leave a lot of open questions because a lot of things are going to happen where, like, we don't want to be too constricted by boundaries that we set and be like, oh, well, that won't make sense because we've already established this. We want to discover the world as we play. So we're going to fill in some of the details now, but not worry too much. Welcome, buddy. Let's hear your thing. Get it, man. All right. So yes, I want to leave it kind of vague, like what exactly this plague is. But there's something going on back east. The big cities are where it spreads more, so everybody decided, or not everybody, but some contingent of people decided, like, it's better to deal with the harsh, untamed wilds than to stay in the cities and die. So we all went out here. I think, and please fill in your own thoughts on this and help me out here, but my leaning is that the initial leaving because of the plague happened a while back. Like, at least a generation ago. At least. I want there to have been people who have been born in these Western frontier and have lived like their entire life out here. Like they're adults now and they were born here and their parents were made the trek. Like, I think I think that we should have spent a long time out here because that gives enough time to make sure that, like, there are settlements, there are cities, there are things like that. And also just that, like, what's going on back east is a lot more nebulous that way. Like, we don't know. It's been so long. Word doesn't really travel in the same way. Wild, tall tales can spread. Like, we don't know what's true, and I like that. So I want to say it's been at least, like, 40 or 50 years, something like that, since we came out here. It's been a long time. And been long enough that even some, like, the initial brave people that decided to brave these wilds, maybe not everybody is that brave anymore. Like, they formed families, people have had children, there's communities now where, like, the people that are that brave and adventurous are probably outnumbered. Which helps make sure that people like player characters who are, the adventurous sort still are a little bit more special. I also was thinking, while guns will absolutely exist, I mean, it's a Wild West game. It would be hard pressed to call it if there weren't guns. I don't want them to be like every person that I have a reason to run afoul of. I don't want everybody to be a gunslinger. I don't want just every single person to have them. And I wanted to turn to you guys on, like, why might that be? Is it just because guns are too expensive? Are they relics where like they're almost like holy items? Because we could do this where it's almost like Stephen King, like the Dark Tower series, where it's like gunslingers are like these, like, they're practically magical beings. Like, they're these gods amongst the land who their guns passed down from their fathers, and like it's not just that everybody has a gun. Like, guns are special. Like, what do you guys think might be the reason why guns aren't like, people will have them, but not everywhere, and I want it to stay significant. Limited, it could be that. It could be just ammo is that limited, that guns are like, yeah, they're good, I guess, but nothing that bad. The only thing to keep in mind with that is that this game will definitely be one where mechanically we're not going to be counting bullets. We will be counting supply, as you see. We'll be keeping We'll be keeping track of like how much supply we have, but we're not going to be counting every single bullet. The plague killed off most of the gun creators. Now in abandoned facilities have been yeah, okay, that could be it. Is that like there's only so many guns that ever came out here, and people don't really remember how to make them. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, so like, how about I like that idea, Fluffabun. Let's run with it. What if, to make these guns, we need factories. We need to make steel. That's all city stuff. That's back east. Like, sure, we've made settlements, but we don't have the industry out here to make guns anymore. So what we've got is what we got. People took things and we're running out. And maybe that's one of the things that drives people forward. Some people are probably trying to recreate industry. And then some people are probably like, are you shitting me? That's what brought on the plague to begin with. You can't make industry. I think this will help drive conflict forward because people have different ideas about industry and whether or not this is something we should do. Abandoned facility has been taken over by the unknown. There could be some amount of that too, but I'm liking the idea that most of the ability to create guns and munitions that's a back east thing, and there might be some people who know how to do it out here and might have the ability to do it, but they're like, this slingshot took over. Well, that's the thing. Could be. Okay, cool. So I like that. I'm trying to think if there was anything more that I wanted to help you guys, or have you guys help me define right from the beginning. Same reason. It's a bit of a gamble whether or not someone will just pull out a gun without it. Yeah, there could be that too, where we never know. And guns were made when the plague happened. Now they think that exactly. And I think I want to leave it vague. Like, maybe it could be true. The guns might be responsible. We don't know. I like the idea that it all happened around the same time, and different people have different ideas on it, and we don't know what's true. We will play this game potentially to discover that. Anyway, I've been gabbing at this for 20-25 minutes. Why don't we actually play the game? And we're going to start by creating the character. Now, as I mentioned, I started out with some ideas on this character, so I've already made some of the choices, in particular because one of the things you do in making this is you decide 3 assets that really define your character. And as we play and get experience, we're going to make these assets that I already have better. We're going to potentially add new assets as I earn them through play. We're going to do all sorts of stuff. But to begin with, I'm going to have these 3. And there's a long list of them to kind of demonstrate a little bit. Like, there's a whole bunch. I didn't want to waste time looking through them all and having you guys help me decide right now. So I picked them ahead of time. I got an idea about what I want. They're defined things. They're already in this deck. Some of them will apply better than others. Some of them are things you kind of unlock along the way. Some of them are a little bit more magical. And the way I thought about Coyote Devereaux, I did not want him... Like, I liked the idea of maybe him discovering magic along the way. Did not want him to start out with any. Maybe this game will be about kind of learning the ways of magic, but I liked the idea of Coyote Devereaux being kind of a shithole. Like, or not shithole, shithead. Like, if I were to cast him as somebody, he'd be, if not Steve Buscemi, at least a Buscemi. Like, in his, he has kind of like, he's a little bit of a scumbag. In terms of like the type of characters that Steve Buscemi typically plays. So my thinking on the matter was Coyote Devereaux is part of a father-son like snake oil salesman team. They go around from town to town, making the best off of the idea that, like, it's harsh out here, people need things, people are more desperate and thus more gullible. So, he's a bit of a trickster. He knows how to pull one over on people. He's a bit of an outcast because he's so used to going from town to town. He knows how to make do without the things that, that towns provide. And he's just been run out of town so many times that he's a little bit more of an outcast. And then he is a Wright. So I figure in a similar type of vein, like, he's used to making things out of just whatever's available and, like, you know, pawning them off and, you know, pretending that they've got capabilities that they don't. Making do, like, he's a little bit of a just like, what do I got around? What do I got around? What can I work with? Kind of character. I like the idea of him having to get by a little bit on his wits, a little bit on his, like, just, like, being a shithead, and just, like, lying to people all the time. Makes you want to play a game like this now. Well, again, IronswornRPG.com. You can absolutely do this. The beauty of this game is that you do not have to, you don't even have to have a second person to play along with you. Kind of like Aladdin, but less redeeming. Like, he's, yeah, a little bit MacGyver Buscemi, exactly. It does a little bit, but, like, having done a test session, like, you get lost in it so quickly. It's so fun. So anyway, let me do one of the last things we need to do in this game, and then I'll go over the, just mechanically, how this game works on, like, the base level real quick so that we can get into it, we can start making a roll and all of that. And about it feeling lonely, you also don't have to play it alone. You can totally do it with somebody else or with a group of people, just like RPGs you might be more used to. So that's available too. It's just that you have the capability to play alone. You have no friends? Well, welcome to, well, that's not true. I was literally playing RPGs with friends earlier today. But, so we have these 5 stats. Edge, Heart, Iron, Shadow, and Wits. These are never going to change. So these are going to be completely defining of our character. The thing that changes about us is what assets we have and capabilities, but for the most part, like, we don't get better at things. We just progress through the story. So as for which each of these do, Edge is kind of your, it's like your range stat. Like how, in this game, what's going to be most relevant is like, how good are you going to be with a gun? Edge is going to help you out with that. You're going to roll plus edge when you're doing things that are ranged. That's usually where that comes up. Heart, your ability to keep on going. Like you're sure you're getting beat up and wounded and everything, but you got it in you. And in my vision of this character, I like the idea that, like, he wasn't all that strong or anything. Strong, of course, being your iron. Your iron is going to be kind of like how well you're going to be at just, like, punching people and melee attacks and stuff like that. I don't think he's going to be really good at that. But I think he's going to have a lot of heart and be one of those just, like, you can't knock him down. Like, he keeps taking licks and just, like, keeps standing. Like, he's a, in a way that's surprising for him, because, again, like, he'd be played by Steve Buscemi, if anything. Like, he's not exactly a very, like, built guy, but, like, he just doesn't give up. And, like he'll spit out his teeth and, like, and keep sassing you. Like, not sassing necessarily, but, like, he'll keep trying to talk his way out of a situation. Even when, like, it's clearly not working, because he just can't knock him down. So he's going to have a decent heart. He's going to have shit iron. I'm probably going to give him some decent edge. Shadow. Shadow is going to be your ability to trick people and be stealthy. Stuff like that. Manipulate yourself into positions where you have an advantage on people through some kind of subterfuge. Han Solo, but not a great Han Solo, who never realized that he was willing to be, like, fight for the Rebel Alliance. Yeah, kind of. Yes, exactly. I get knocked down, but exactly. This guy's theme would be tub thumping. He comes from the village of Chumbawamba. And, yeah. And then finally we have wits, which are basically what it seems like, your awareness of your environment around you. So we're going to assign stats to all of these. One of these stats will get to be a 3, 2 of them get to be 2s, and then the other 2 are 1s. And I believe the way I wanted to set it up was I want this guy to be just full of heart, as I mentioned. Like, he won't go down. So let's put a 3 in heart. That's his top stat. Because even though he's, like, he knows a thing or two about tricking people, and, like, that's it. Damn it. I'm getting used to Roll20, by the way. So even though his shadow is also good, it's not as good as his just, like, never say die attitude. So his shadow is going to be one of his 2 stats. So let's give that a 2. And again, these will never change, so once I got in position, we're all good. There we go. So his shadow is going to be one of his 2s. It's his, like, it's pretty good, but not as good as his heart. His edge is going to be his other 2. Cool. You've never played D&D? Hey, have you ever played other games, or because I know you were the one who was familiar with Deadlands, right? Like, you've played Deadlands, right? And then finally that leaves his iron and his wits are going to be 1. This is a guy, he's probably... Oh, that wasn't you? Sorry. I couldn't remember who was saying that yesterday. This is a guy that, like, for all of his he never gives up, he probably should. He does not have good wits. He should give up long ago. If he had a good kind of wisdom to be like, yeah, this is not a good situation for you. He's, yeah. He doesn't know when it's a better idea to stop. And then, again, he can't throw a punch to save his life. He's not a melee character. There we go. And let me just straighten these out a little bit, or it's going to drive me nuts. Let's move these around to the best of my ability. I'll probably just do this off stream. But some of them are just bothering me into, like, different heights. Damn it! Is there a way I can turn that off? I don't want to be pinging things all the time, just because I held down. Alright, whatever. Close enough. I'm not going to spend all stream doing that. I hope it doesn't bother you. First D&D stream, first D&D group on Reddit. Really interesting. Okay, so these are our stats. Let me tell you what those actually mean. So the core mechanic of this game is going to be, I'm just going to pretend to roll my heart right now. We're going to start this off with just heart, Matisse power. Theoretically, certain situations might give us modifiers on this, but generally, it doesn't. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be rolling, as you see, 2d10 and a d6. So what's going on this? Why does that say strong hit over there? What just happened? So, what just happened was, my action die got a 4. Why did that happen? Because the d6, my action die, shows a 2. I rolled heart? Actually, that should be a... I don't know what that's... Oh, right. I need to change something real quick, because while the numbers on here say that, I think the numbers I put on the sheet on, like, what this is referring to are different. That should be a 5. I'm going to need to make a change, because apparently these stats aren't quite how I saw them. I'll do that in a second. That should be a 5. It doesn't change anything. Importantly, a 5 is higher than 3. A 5 is higher than 2. So because it is higher than both dice individually, we have a strong hit. If it's higher than one of them and not the other, we have a weak hit. And if it's lower than both, we have a miss. This gets a little bit more complicated with this momentum track, but I think I'll just explain that in play. We're not going to worry about it for now. Let's jump into it as soon as I fix these stats that it's referring to, because I screwed that up. So yeah, I had these set up differently before. I don't think I've changed them. So let's change this up to my edge is 2, my iron is 1, heart is 3, 2, and 1. There we go. Let me just check to make sure that is now fixed it real quick. We're going to do one more roll. Good. Okay. It's got the new stats. We're all good. Again, strong hit. Man, I'm wasting all these strong hits. Strong hits do not happen very often in this game. But that's the core mechanic. How high is your result compared to other dice? Did it beat both of them? Strong hit. Did it beat one of them? Weak hit. Did it beat neither of them? Miss. And then, like so many games, you'll be consulting tables, be like, okay, what happens on a strong hit? What happens on a weak hit? What happens on a miss? And all these various sliders are going to go up and down based on results of things, and we're going to progress the story. So, here is the situation as I see it. How does the story begin? The way I see it, I think my dad and I, we tried to pull the wool over the eyes of some people who did not have wool pulled over their eyes. Their eyes see straight through that wool. We got into a little bit of trouble. We went a little bit too far into the deep end, thought we could get away with it, could not, and we ran afoul of a gang. Now, I think the way this happened was something like, maybe we had some kind of like elixir we were selling, sold to the gang. Unfortunately, this elixir is, it's not so much that it makes you really great and powerful. So, like, there's probably like some lead content in this or something. It fucks you up, makes you pretty sick. And we did not get out of town quick enough. See, I haven't actually seen El Dorado. Someday. So we didn't get out of town quick enough. They were hot on our heels. They found us. The leader of this gang found us. A fight went down, captured us. I see us as starting off. We're like tied up on chairs in this person's headquarters. His whole crew is, really sick and everything. They're a little bit fucked up right now. We've been captured. It's a bad time. Now, the way you start off this game is by swearing your first vow. That's kind of kicks things off. Occurs to me. The only other thing I need to get set up is I do need to set my bonds. In this game, you have bonds with certain characters and communities that just make you better at like socializing with them. You can leave them open and kind of establish them in play. And I think for the sake of expediency, because now it's been almost 40 minutes and I haven't even like actually started the game yet, we're gonna leave them all open. And as we see things that make sense, like, yeah, you know what, I want to have a bond with this community, or I want to have a bond with this person. We'll fill them in as they go. So I've got 3 bonds available. We'll do them later. Let's swear our first iron vow. So I mentioned earlier, vows are kind of the thing that really drive the game forward. They're our goals. They're the things that we want to do in this game. We swear a vow to do something, and we fucking get it done. And when we do it done appropriately, we get experience. When we rate them in terms of how difficult they should be to get done, which is all just, a self-guidance kind of thing. And if we accomplish them, great, we get experience. And if we fail them, oh no, our character might be worse for the wear about it. Like, we might really, we might turn to the bottle or something because we screwed up our vow. It's, we take vows seriously. You don't just make a vow for nothing. But vows are the thing that drive the game forward. So let me pull up the swear an iron vow move on my end here. Quest moves. All right, swear an iron vow. How about you vow to avenge your father if he dies? Well, I mean, that very well might be a thing. You want to be a little bit more specific? So in terms, or at least I would want to be, just to make sure that there's like a clear, like, when I've done this, I've accomplished the vow. Well, sort of. Gets a little bit weird because the way you test whether or not you accomplish the vow gets a little bit more hazy in that, but you certainly could do vows like that. But what I was thinking, before I swear the vow, let's give a little bit more flavor to what's going on here. So, Coyote Devereaux and Papa Devereaux, which I want to say, like, I think Papa Devereaux just goes by the name, just like Filch. Like, everybody just calls him Filch. Like, we're not good people. And, like, Coyote, to give a little bit more of a sense of, like, imagining him right now, both of these guys are pretty filthy. They go from town to town. They maybe get a little bit scrubbed up, like, right before they do a show to, hawk their products. But generally, if they're not about to do a show, like, they're covered in trail dirt. And Coyote, I see him in my mind as having, like, he always wears, like, a bandage around his head that's like always got some blood soaking through. And it's not because he's wounded. It's because he's such a just like tricky guy that like he like hides shit under the bandage. So like he's got like all sorts of little knickknacks and things under there that'll allow him to like sneakily try, like he'll like scratch at his head and maybe like palm something out from under the bandage, like. And it's because he figures that like if he looks wounded, like people will be less likely to hit him. Cause like he's taken a lot of hits in his days, so it's like if I look like, hey man, I'm already like I'm hurt, it's not even a fair fight, people will leave him alone. You're full? No, totally not full of unoriginal ideas. All ideas are great. Mostly like this was something I had a very specific idea of how to kick the game off, like just to make sure that we had a starting point. So like I'll be paying a little bit more attention to the various like suggestions as we go on, but like at a little bit more of a concrete beginning. It's more of that. So yeah, he's got this headband on. I see it as like one of his teeth like on his upper gums. He's got like a gold tooth, but it's not his. He like hawked a gold tooth at some point out of a like I don't think he was even off of a dead body. I think it was off of like a drunkard that he took it off of him. But he like shoved it into his own gums and it doesn't fit quite right. Like he's always like fucking with it with his tongue. He's like wiggling it because it doesn't fit quite right. It's like there's like a gap there and he's always just like nervously messing with it. So he's got like this like gold tooth up there and scraggly, unshaven look right now. You're wondering why they're selling the elixir. Maybe they're saving for something or need to pay off a debt. So that would be a cool thing to explore. We'll keep that in mind. That's an interesting question that we might kind of find out through play. Like, right now it's been the nebulous, just like, make a buck off of somebody, drink away the pay. But maybe there's a deeper reason on this that we'll find out when we have like some scenes with like just like talking it out with Dad. So Filch and Coyote, they're in this like basement right now, and this guy with kind of like I think he's got like spiky kind of red hair and just a maniac look in his eyes. He's one of those people that just like he does not blink often enough, and his eyes like he keeps them pretty widely open. He's just got like a certain just like menacing energy to him where it's just like this guy he's being pleasant enough right now, but he's like a taut spring, just ready to have like the cover go off and just fly off the handle at any moment. So like you gotta be careful around him. And he's got us at an advantage right now. So Coyote, I want to say Coyote and Filch are being kept on like opposite sides of like. They've got like a little bit of like a jail cell kind of set up here, and they're being in other cells. And I think Filch is currently like maybe not entirely unconscious, but like he's been roughed up a lot. He's barely conscious. He's like, his arms are tied behind his back. His head is hanging low. There's probably just like a drip, drip, drip of blood coming from his mouth that's like going on his shirt. Like, it's not a good time. And Filch is not exactly a young man. I want to say he's getting into his upper 50s because Coyote himself is probably around my age or maybe a little bit older. Like, so yeah, that would mean Filch is probably like 60 or so. Like, he's been doing this for a long time. He's definitely mostly gray hair at this point. Probably been thinking about getting out of the game, and he's been roughed up. He's barely sticking around. So Coyote, as this leader walks up to him, the shadow kind of passes over his face. He's like slowly coming into consciousness, and he looks up and he goes, I don't suppose you're willing. His hands are tied behind his back right now. Like, I don't suppose you're I don't suppose you're here to let me go. And guy just gives a little bit of a chuckle and just says, oh no, that's not exactly what I had in mind here. You have any idea why you're here? I mean, thoughts been crossing my mind a little bit. I had a little bit of an idea, if I'm being honest, but why don't you go first? I want to make sure that I don't want to run under faulty assumptions, Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Well, you and your daddy over there, is that your dad?
Got a resemblance, huh? Yeah, a little bit. Just, it's in that facial well, not so much right now, because his face is a little bit lumpy in the moment, but beforehand, you had a little bit of that resemblance. It's your dad and you over there. You sold me something under some false pretenses. What I sell a lot of things. What could you be a little bit more specific? Also, you just knocked me around a little bit. I'm a little bit loopy at the moment. Why don't you be a little bit more specific? Specific. That's the word. You remember the? I'm surprised you don't remember why it was just yesterday. You were talking about just how wonderful, miraculous this. He pulls out a thing from his coat pocket, a little bottle where I feel like there's a label that's already peeling off a little bit. It's the man that instead of being a coward is a man who is ready to die. Could be. Yeah, I mean he's been doing this for a long time. He might be getting a little bit tired of this. But I don't want to just write him out as a character too quickly. I don't want to just be so suddenly have my one attack. Oh, one of my bonds should absolutely be with Filch. I mean, he's my dad. It makes sense. So we'll check off one of my 3 bonds as Filch. Makes sense. I don't want to write him off too quickly. I want him to stick around. I want to have attachments to this world. It's more interesting that way. So he may be ready to die, but we're not going to give him that too quickly. So yeah, I'm surprised you don't remember. It was just yesterday. You were all about just how amazing the quality of this here. I forget what you called it, but the word elixir came up many, many times. I'm surprised you don't remember. Yeah, that'll let me guess. Did it not do everything we said it would? It didn't. In fact, granted, I didn't have any. But I remember you talking all sorts of tales about the ways it would make a man more virile and find the beast within and just find the newfound energy and make his sight better, make his muscles bigger. Why, this thing seemed to do everything. And well, my men were certainly chomping at the bit for such a thing, but I myself, I don't know, I've just got a little bit more self-assurance. I didn't think I need such a thing. Well, makes sense. I mean, looking at you right now, you seem a very capable man. I'm not surprised you wouldn't have the need of such a thing. I didn't. But they all did. And you see, they drink your elixir, and, well, wouldn't you know, they're all just laid out today. Rough timing. I mean, I hear there's a bug going around. Yeah, and the bug's in your bottle. I don't know about that. I do. Here's the way this is going to work out. The problem is, did you know there was a train that was supposed to be coming through here soon enough? I don't know, not a train. When I originally thought of this, it was a train, but I don't think that makes sense. Because we talked about how there's not really a lot of industry here. And that was part of the reason why guns are scarce. So let's change that up. It shouldn't be a train, but just like a coach or something like that. There's some kind of shipment that's coming through here soon. A carriage of some sort. Exactly. So there's a carriage supposed to be coming through here later on today. And it's carrying an awful lot of mighty good stuff on it. And my crew and I, well, we thought maybe we could liberate some of those things. But now I'm feeling a little bit understaffed for such a job. The ways of this world, they're harsh from time to time. I don't know what to tell you. That's okay, because I know what to tell you. You and your daddy there, you're gonna do the job for me. You're gonna go out, well, not your dad, he's gonna stick around with me. But you're gonna liberate that carriage on my behalf, and if you do it well enough, maybe I'll see around and let your dad go. How's that sound? Does that sound good and fair? Sound like maybe something that we could find an agreement on? I mean, I don't know. You really just gonna? I want to tell you to do your job, but you're really just you're gonna let me go and not even gonna supervise me? He's doing less gesturing with his hands because they're obviously held behind his back. But don't you want a job like that? Don't you want to just kind of come along and make sure it all goes down well? I don't know if you've ever heard the story about thieves and how much honor they have, but it's it's not a long story, is what I'm saying. I'm looking out for you. I don't want it to go bad for you when you let me go and then I just run away. I'm looking out for your behalf. Maybe you want to come along and help me out. That's all I'm saying. See, the thing about the honor among sorry about that. The thing about the honor among thieves is usually in those stories, them thieves ain't kin, are they? I'm puzzling myself over thinking of one where they are, but I think you might be right. I don't know if they're usually kin. Yeah, they're not usually kin, are they? So I'm gonna hold on to him. You're gonna swear to me, and you're gonna get this done, and we'll see how this goes. Sound fair? Does that sound fair? I mean, more or less fair. There's one thing that I want to get. I don't like going into business with somebody whose name I don't know. So my name is Coyote Devereaux. Yeah, exactly. How scummy is Coyote? Well, thankfully, mechanically, we're going to make him swear an iron vow on this, and we're going to make sure that mechanically he is kind of obligated to do this. Because I think, as mentioned, the Ironsworn in this game, I think, are indeed, like, they're like these Texas Rangers that go around solving problems. I don't see either of these two guys as being literal Ironsworn, as scummy as they are. But I think there's still a kind of magic to, like, if you swear an iron vow on something, I think you might be a little bit bound to it. Or at least people might believe they're bound to it. And so it's almost kind of the same thing. Whether or not you're, like, truly magically bound to accomplishing it or not, as long as you believe you are, like, it's kind of has the same effect. So my name's Coyote Devereaux. And I have the pleasure of talking to... Why don't you call me Red Robert? That's what my friends call me. Ah, we're friends? That's so good to hear. I'm glad to hear that we're friends. I was worried for a moment that we were getting off on the wrong foot. Because of, everything I did to cheat you and your men out of your livelihood. I worried that we weren't going to be friends. No. You get this done for me. Oh, we're going to be the best of friends. So go ahead. Well, swear to me. I want you to... He, like, flips an iron coin to Coyote. Because I think this guy, I think Red Robert, if nothing else, he is a believer in these iron vows. And, like, if Coyote swears on iron, it'll be good enough to him. I want you to swear on this. Swear on your iron. You're going to get this done. And, like, the coin is, like, on his lap. Because, again, he doesn't have his hands available to him. But Coyote is like, looks at the coin. I think historically, you're supposed to, I think the iron you're supposed to swear on is a 6-shooter. And of course, the job would be a lot easier if I had one of those. We're not that good of friends yet. You want a 6-shooter, you're gonna have to find that for yourself. You swear on that coin. All right. What do you want me to swear? I guess I can get this done. I want you to swear that you're going to liberate the... all right, what's a good name for this coach that's coming in? I haven't even decided what's on it. We're going to discover that through play. But, like, the... like, do we think this should be a... Like, is this, like, an equivalent of, like, the Pony Express? Like, it's got everybody's shit on it? Or is this, like, a particular, like, traveling caravan or something? Like, help me define this a little bit more. What are we robbing? What is...
let's think about this a little bit. What would he call it? Like the in my mind so far, I'm thinking of it as kind of like a little bit of a like it's not so much like a delivery, but definitely like a traveling band that's going to be making it through town. A bank carriage. It could be that. Yeah, it could indeed just be a bank carriage. It's just carrying like a just carrying a fuckload of gold. Yeah, we could certainly be a bank carriage. So like the well, I'm gonna roll an oracle here to help inspire a name. Horse theft seems like it would be a big thing. Oh, totally. It definitely would be one of those shit merchants from Wind Waker. I definitely like the idea of like it could just be, you know, basically like robbing a bank, but just on route. So like it's a bank delivery. It's moving a lot of gold from one place to another. Let's see. Hold on. I'm just using this to inspire a name. It's not going to be this directly, but okay. Based on a season or environmental aspect. Dust would definitely be the most environmental thing around here. So like we could do like stories very. We haven't even gotten to the story. We haven't done a single roll yet, other than that. The farmer's market. Well, I'm just using this for like a name. I don't know. There's a caravan. We won't worry too much about the name. I feel like we're getting too hung up on it. It doesn't matter yet. If something inspires it later, we'll get there. But to basically swear an iron vow that Coyote is going to liberate this caravan of its goods, however he sees fit, and deliver them back to Red Robert. And let's get this started off right with a vow. So I'm going to type that in here. I think this is just in the grand scheme of things, I think because he's totally outnumbered on this is a dangerous vow. Troublesome is, you know, you're easy as shit. It doesn't take that long to do. A shipment of dust protection, like goggles. Oh yeah, there could be some terrible dust storms out here. I like the idea that there'd be that too. Oh, cool. Yeah. Feel free. Everything here is freely available for you to steal for whatever purposes or be inspired by or whatever. Yeah, I like that. I think there should be some amount of gold there, but also like let's introduce that as a thing. Like, I think there's certainly some kind of like sickness protection. Like, oh, what if because like obviously there were like the superstitions we were talking about of like how the guns and everything might have been part of the sickness back east, and I think like the industry and all the smoke and everything were part of that. What if the dust storms, people are seeing associations and are a little bit worried about that maybe they'll have their own sickness. So yeah, definitely some dust gear and protection. I think to make this as scummy as possible, I think there should be some medicines and stuff on there as well. We'll discover it as we go, but like there'll be stuff. Let me type in this vow here. Okay. So I'm just gonna write it in the short form. Steal from caravan and deliver back to Red. Oop. Let me make that just a little bit smaller size so it fits better. Cool. Damn it. Does anybody who's more familiar with Roll20 know if there's a way I can turn off those pings? Because I'm never going to need them. Good enough. And let us just freehand in that this is a dangerous vow. Okay. This is a dangerous vow, and we're going to swear it right now. So, man, didn't mean that to rhyme, but it did. So, the way we swear an iron vow. This is a quest move. Again, if you want to follow along and see these moves at home, ironswornrpg.com is where this is all freely available. There's not only the free rulebook, there's also the free like moves reference and things like that. So if you want to be able to read these things along with me, swear an iron vow. When you swear upon iron to complete a quest, write your vow and give the quest a rank. We've done that. Then we're going to roll plus heart. So we're good at swearing things. We've got that heart. If you make this vow to a person or a community with whom you share a bond, add +1. We're not swearing. Looked up if you can disable it. It doesn't look like it's an option. Okay, well, thank you for looking it up. We're not swearing this to our dad. We're swearing it to Red Robert, so we don't get that +1. and let's see what happens. So let me roll my plus heart. We don't have any modifiers here. So, submit. All right, one of the dice went off, but we have, as you can see, oh, we have a strong hit. So the action, we rolled an 8. We rolled well on that. Heart is, of course, we're good at that, so it's more likely to be a strong hit. And 8 is better than 2 and 5. So we have our strong hit, and what that means is, on a strong hit, you are emboldened, and it is clear what you must do next. Ask the Oracle of Unsure. Take +2 momentum. Now, I think in the... What's clear what we have to do next is that, like, we even mentioned it before. We don't have a 6-shooter. We don't have any good weapon. Like, I know that I'm not good in a fist fight. I am not going to be good with melee weapons. I need some kind of weaponry, or, like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to take on an entire caravan. At the very least, I don't know if I'm going to lead with the gun, but I want to make sure that I have it in case things go wrong. Otherwise, I'm a sitting duck. So I take +2 momentum because it is clear what I have to do next. So I'm going to move this momentum track. And I have Elixir. So I move this up to a +4. Here's a good opportunity to tell you what momentum does for me. So we have this big log momentum track. Oh, let me fill in something real quick. Let me just write in my... so my max momentum currently is 10. And my reset is +2. This is just the defaults of how it works in this game. Things might change that later. They might not. So momentum. Let's pretend for a second that I rolled... let's pretend on my next roll that I only rolled a 1. Really sucks, right? And these challenge dice are the same thing. They are a 2 and a 5, just for argument's sake. Now, if I have a momentum that's higher than one of those dice rolls, I can kill my momentum and reset it to its +2 value to basically cancel out a dice that's lower in it. So if it's a 2 and a 5, I could kill this to say, that 2 doesn't exist. So now it's a weak hit because my 1 is better than the nothing that isn't there. And if it's better than both of them, like say that was a 2 and a 3, I could turn that 1 into a strong hit. Now, obviously, the higher up you build your momentum, the more you're going to be able to use that. Like, if you have a 10, great. Like, you can cancel out basically anything. It does have to be higher, though. So if you have a +10 and both of the challenge dice roll 10s, you're kind of shit out of luck. But yeah, so the higher up you build your momentum, the more likely you are to be able to use it to make better results than you should otherwise have. And this is going to go up and down throughout the game. And when we do well, it goes up. When we do poorly, it's going to move down. We really don't want it to get into the negatives. That's when it starts getting crappy, and we'll get into it if it ever happens. But we took our momentum on the hit, and we know what to do. So Red Robert's going to let us go. We swear on the coin. He's good. He kind of nods. Like, it's clear, I think, when we look in his eyes that, like, there's, like, a fanaticism in there. Like, not only just from, he's obviously a little bit of a, like, maniac, but, like, his eyes, I think, are, like, they're almost alight when he looks at that coin. Like, maybe it's just a trick of the light, but it's almost like we see them, like, go a little bit more red when he looks at it. Like, he has a faith in that coin. That, like, what we did, there's a magic to it, and, like, it's going to bind us. He can trust us now, not because we're trustworthy, but because we did that. And, like, it's a little bit scary, and he's like, nodding his head along with it, and it's just like, yeah, that's good. That's real good. Be back, good, best of luck, man. And, of course, if either way it goes, I'm satisfied. We'll be waiting for you. And he takes out, like, this big, like, Bowie knife and just, like, slashes the rope that's behind us. And, like, it's, like, probably a little bit against our skin. He's not too careful with it. Like, we probably get a little bit nicked during that. Just like, oh, jeez. Like, he did a little quick, just like, and cut. So, he wasn't too nice about it, but he cuts us free. And, he's got his, like, jangly, he's got, like, the key to the cells on him. And, like, for a moment... our eyes... Welcome back, Fluffy Bun. For a moment, our eyes see, like, the glint of the light on his keys that are just like, you know, he's asking me to go on a caravan right now. I could turn this a little bit. I could just go for those keys. I mean, like, if I do it quick, maybe I could take this guy out, unlock that, and we could, you know, beat feet out of town. There's a moment where I think Coyote thinks about that. But then, like, he thinks back to the glint in this guy's eyes. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe some part of Coyote also thinks, like, maybe there's a little bit of superstition in him. And he's like, if I go against my vow, maybe bad shit will happen to me. Like, I've never sworn a vow before, but, like, I don't want to make... And I vowed that I would go to the caravan. So he heads out of there, and he's got his first task. Our first milestone. So, how do we fill in these boxes? Because what we want to do is we have this vow up here. We want to fill in the boxes along the way. The closer and closer we get to it, the more likely we are to succeed, to successfully pull off whatever we vowed to do. It's basically on us as players. It's all it's all just self-judged. When we do things that seem like they are milestones, we accomplish a milestone. Now, because this is a dangerous vow and not a troublesome, not any of these other things, anytime we reach a milestone, the progress is going to go up by 2 boxes. We're going to fill in 2 boxes every single time. Now, we do not have to get this all the way. When we feel like we're ready to finish off this vow, we can totally see if we're close enough. The way it works is basically we roll those d10s with no stat, and we compare however many boxes we have to that. So if we were to do like one thing and fill in those 2 boxes, we'd roll the d10, like just for example right now, I'm going to roll 2d10. I think it's / roll 2d10? Yeah. Okay, so a 4 and a 10. I would get a weak hit right now because, or in the scenario where I had 2 boxes, because 2 isn't better than either of these. Momentum does not count. You can't use momentum. You can't use it. All you can use is your progress. You have to work on it just to be successful. So right now we would get a weak hit. Bad shit would happen if we were to try and finish out our vow now. In fact, because we rolled a 10 there, the best we could get is a... we would get a miss if we did it. Best we could get is a weak hit. So the more boxes you fill in, the more likely you are to be successful at it. And of course, the more you go towards epic, the longer and longer it takes to fill this up. So right now, it's only 10 boxes. We fill in 2 every time. We don't need to hit a lot of milestones. It's a pretty simple quest we're on. It's just dangerous. So first task, we got to get a weapon. Now, all right, guys, how familiar do you think I am with this town? Do you think, and here's the real question, do you think I have been here long enough to forge a bond with the members of the town? Like, we've been around, like, do you think I was just, like, one and done? Or, 4 out of 10? But, have I formed a bond with them or not? So we were supposed to be in and out. Now, obviously, by the story that we told, we stayed a little bit longer than we were supposed to. That's why we got caught. But obviously, we weren't here long enough. We don't know a lot of people's names. They don't know us all that well. It's all intentional. We have not done a lot of socializing. You probably know the key locations and key people, but not long enough to know. Okay, cool. So importantly, no, we do not have a bond with this place. Let's make a name for it, though, real quick. Let's not just have it as this city. What is its name? Settlement name. So I took the time. There are all these oracles in the book that have all sorts of D100 tables. I took the time to put all the ones that I wanted in here already. So I have settlement name in here. So we're going to name it after a man-made edifice. Ooh, this should be prominent in this town. So, like, real quick question, guys. Do you like the idea that this area is, like, post-apocalyptic in a sense? Like, these are settlements that, like, we took, like, used to exist, and then, like, everybody died. Like, it's been easily, like, hundreds of years since people lived here, but we took it over, and, like, some of the, like, there might be old monuments and stuff that are here from, like, the before times, because then a man-made edifice could be one of these, like, ancient artifacts. Or do you like the idea more that, like, we've, like, forged our way in the wild, and, like, this is all stuff that we made? Yes, like a man-made, like, there could be some kind of, like, ancient statue or something of like a prominent figure whose like name we don't know. Like we know the name, but like we don't know why they're prominent. We did, like, obviously somebody's commemorated them, and like we've named the town after the statue. The second option. Okay, so you like the idea that this is all stuff that we built ourselves. Okay, we can do it that way as well. So what kind of edifice could we have here? I still like the idea that there's like, I keep envisioning some kind of like, oh, you know what it should be? No, this should be a cruel place. I think the man-made edifice is named after should be the fucking gallows. Like, I think this is not a very nice place to be. I think that they are quick to, or it's not gallows. What are those, like, there's a name for it. What are the name of those, like, iron cages that, like, you just leave people to rot in? Because, like, I don't think this is a very lawful place. If this guy is, like, if Red Robert is doing so well here, I don't think it's very, it's not stocks. Those are, you know, there's a name for it. No, it's like, you know how, like, sometimes there'll be, like, there's, like, a wooden beam, and then, like, there's, like, a hanging cage? There's a name for this. I know it is, because it's come up in Burning Wheel, I want to say. I don't know. But I think it should be named after that. Or it should have just some kind of cruel name, where it's just based off of the place. Gibbet! Gibbet, yes! Why don't we call this place, we could even just call it Gibbet. Yes, a gibbet is what I'm thinking of. I think this should be a cruel place where, like, there's probably just, like, I think it's just the one, too, and, like, there's, like, sometimes people have to share with, like, there's a body that's, like, more rotting than you are already in there. Like, they're more dead, but not quite, and, like, you haven't died yet, but you're sharing the gibbet with somebody else. Like, it sucks here. And I think this town is named after it. So, like, not a lot of nice people here. And I need to get a weapon. Now, I could try and just buy one. But I don't think that's this guy's style. I think the first thing I want to do is I want to use my right capability here, which is when you secure an advantage by crafting a useful item, or when you face danger to create or repair an item, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. I think that I got to steer into what I do best. I'm a snake oil salesman of some sort. I'm going to trade. I'm going to fashion something. Like, as I'm kind of walking through town, I'm thinking through, like, what can I maybe do here? How can I get myself on a weapon? And yeah, the first thing I want to do is, like, I need something to trade. I need some way to swindle somebody. It's what I know best. I'm a trickster. Because, I mean, these are the things I'm going to be able to be most able to do successfully. So, let's see, what would I try and make? I don't want to just do snake oil every time, like that sort of just like, oh, it's my elixir. That gets boring. Let's think of something else. Oh, you know, or maybe no. Maybe it's not that I'm going to, maybe I'm not going to make an item. Maybe I'm going to lean into my bandage thing, where I'm going to try and, like, stumble into somebody's place and have them, like, go get help for me, so that they leave their stuff behind, and then it's just open season. You know, it's the, you know, get me a doctor, quick. It's that sort of thing. So I'm just going to lean into my trickster here. I'm going to find myself... Now, because I got a strong hit and I know the course, I think I know where to find this person already. I know where the person who's going to have the weapons I need. If I didn't get a strong hit, I think I'd have to discover that, but we got this guy's shop, and let's get a name for them. Character... I don't have a character name. Let's call this person, anybody have a good name for just somebody who would run just like, you know, your Roxas? That's a cool name. Yeah. Roxas. I like it. I don't know if it's a nickname or a given name, but either way, the shop is run by just like a big, burly, like... I like the idea of, like... I like it, the idea of that being like Roxy. What if it's in Dead like Roxy, like Roxi? I like the idea of Roxy being like a fucking a lady that you do not fuck around with. Like she is stacked and has been known, like she takes care of herself. So like the name of the shop is Roxy's, Roxi''s. Let's go with that. So we're going over to Roxy's place. By the way, I'm going to so need you guys' help to keep track of all of this. People's names and stuff like that. Let me open up a notepad because, okay, let's just write out some of the names we've come up with. So Gibbet is the name of this town, is our current town. All right, so Dad's name we came up with as Filch. So Dad's name is Filch Devereaux, or he just goes by Filch. He probably has a different given name, but, yeah, his proper name is something else. We haven't come up with it yet. Dad's name is Filch. The guy that we've sworn to is Red Robert. We've sworn the vow to Red Robert. And, okay, and this Roxy's is the place in town where, where we can find some weapons. Where weapons can be acquired. Okay. Man, I've spent so much time just, like, fleshing things out and talking. We're going to do so few rolls tonight, because the idea I had in mind was we would do 2 hours of this, so we've got 45 minutes left. Let's try and push this along and get some more rolls under our belt before we go. By the way, if this is going to be every Saturday, and I'm going to have the VODs on YouTube, so if you miss a session, you're going to be able to see the whole thing. I'm going to put them on my YouTube page, YouTube channel. It's going to be all good. I think a fly just flew up my nose, motherfucker. Little gnat. Oh, no, no, that was the wrong... I should have gone outwards, not inwards. That was... that was the wrong choice. That seems like a good segue into... I need some goddamn bourbon after that. I know, right? Get wrecked. Alright, let's go to Roxy's. And my first move, I am going to try and compel her into leaving the shop. There's a move here called Compel. Roxy reminds you of Moxie from Borderlands. Nice. We could have 2 X's. Alright, here we go. Cheers, everybody. That'll get rid of the gnat juices. So, we're going to use this trickster ability to compel by... I think it's fair to say that I am lying, bluffing, stealing, or cheating. So I get that +1. I think I'm literally doing every single one of those things. I'm lying. I'm bluffing. Well, no. I'm not lying. All I'm saying, because I'm just saying fetch a doctor. Well, okay, I say I'm hurt. I'm bluffing that I'm already hurt. So I lie about being hurt. I bluff to kind of pull it off. I'm going to steal her merchandise. And I guess stealing and cheating kind of is the same thing. Point being, I get that +1. I think I've earned it. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see my mouse. That thing is what I'm referring to. Yeah, right? I'm doing the like drink up me hearties yo ho song basically. So let's pull out this move. The Compel move. So if you haven't realized by now, the way this game kind of, the ebb and flow of it is like fiction, 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 until you reach a point where it's like, I'm doing this move, roll the move. Let's see what happens. So it is a social move called Compel. When you attempt to persuade someone to do something, envision your approach and roll. So as we mentioned, the approach is I stumble into this shop. I feel like I'm just like, literally like I kind of like lean on the door. Like I turn the knob a little bit and I lean and just like I fall through the entrance. I'm reaching out towards Roxy. I'm just like, Roxy, you gotta fetch a doctor. Something along those lines. I like try and make eye contact, pull off my I'm fucked up as much as possible. Well, here's the thing. In this game, mechanically, nobody is any harder. The only way one could be harder or easier to persuade is just about like, if you share a bond with them, it's easier to. But everybody else is just like, for these kind of moves, we don't really worry about that level of granularity. It's just, a narrative thing that happens. I'm compelling a person. Most people are pretty much identical to each other. All these moves are just about how the narrative moves. Like, we don't worry about, like, all people are the same, basically. It's just whether or not I have a relationship with them. So, I'm going to compel a person, and I'm definitely doing it through lying or swindling, so I'm going to roll plus shadow. So, I have plus shadow. My modifier here is going to be with a +1 because of my trickster move, or my trickster asset. And let's see what happens. My momentum is 4, so I have a little bit of leverage on this if this goes poorly. Okay, so I rolled poorly. As you see, right now I have a miss, an 8 and a 4. Which means I can't even use my momentum on this. I got a fucking miss. So there's what you wanted to happen. She's hard to persuade. Yeah, the dice went that way anyway. So thankfully, you don't have to worry too much about making people harder to persuade because the math is kind of pushed towards, like, it's hard to have things go smoothly because when things go smoothly, stories end. The more complicated things are, the more likely that they are to go interestingly. So, what happens on a miss? There's nothing I can do about this. They refuse or make a demand which costs you greatly. Pay the price. Okay, I think it is more interesting if Roxy demands something of us. Instead of just outright refusing. Let's keep the story moving forward. We don't want to just have it just like, no, try something else, then we do it on somebody else. That's stupid. So I think feel free to chime in with your own ideas, because pay the price is a move that we can do to randomly come up with ideas about things, but my initial leaning is I think maybe Roxy, like, she doesn't trust us, and she's like, maybe she's got some cuffs or something, some manacles. It's like, sure, but I'm not going to leave you here with my wares, like, cuff yourself to this pipe or something. She says something along the lines of, what are you doing? Wait, do you have a sign outside your store that says dead swindler? Yeah. Do I have a sign outside my store that says dead swindler storage? Yeah, right? Yeah, I feel like that's a good, I think Roxy should indeed, like, maybe she knows who I am. Maybe it's not that she's untrustworthy of people in general, but she's untrustworthy of me. I look like an untrustworthy guy right now. I haven't had the chance to clean up and everything. So yeah, I think that she'll do it, but she demands that I manacle myself to, like, some kind of bar or something in there, something that's going to keep me from doing it. So yeah, she comes over and she's ready for this. She's got all sorts of wares in this shop, and she slaps it on my wrist because I'm playing up the being injured right now, so I'm not as ready for any kind of, like, hey, what are you doing? She, like, catches me by surprise because I've got my head hung low. I'm, like, really playing into it, and I just feel this, like, clack as it, like, claps around my wrist, and then before I know it, I'm like, whoa, 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 and she, like, pulls it over and manacles me onto some kind of secure thing, and says, well, you wait right there, Coyote Devereaux. I'll be right back. And yeah, she leaves. And there's a danger right now, of course, because obviously I'm not actually hurt. I need to break out of here real quick. Like, if I'm going to do this, I've got a limited amount of time. I don't want to be around when the doctor's still around. That's going to really wreck my plans. But thankfully, as we've kind of established in the fiction, I think I hold all sorts of bullshit up here in my fake bandage. And I've got one arm free. I'm not completely just, like, at anybody's mercy. I've got some limited ability to do this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my right capability right now. I'm going to... I could drink the elixir and then actually be ill. Oh, that's perfect. It's like, oh, I know this makes people sick. Glug, glug, glug. There we go. Perfect, Maelstrom. So I'm going to lean into my right asset. When you secure an advantage by crafting a useful item, which is definitely... I'm going to craft basically a lockpick. Or when you face danger to create or repair an item in a perilous situation, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. So basically, I'm turning what could... I'm setting myself up for the role that allows me to escape these manacles. By reaching in and combining, like, the various crap that I've got tucked away in my little, like, in my wound sash, and like maybe something that's around nearby. I find something. Ideas come from the characters you made up, and you realize now she isn't like the female character you'd made in your head. Oh well, it's obviously a collaborative process. So yeah, I'm going to try and secure this advantage. I will take my +1 and add +1 momentum on a hit. So secure an advantage. Let's see what that is. That is a... Here we go, an adventure move. When you assess a situation, make preparations or attempt to gain leverage. So I'm going to try and make proper tools to escape from this situation. And I think I'm doing this with... Yeah, if it's stuff that I've hidden away in my like little fake bandage type of thing, I think it's safe to say, again, this is with deception, stealth, or trickery. So again, this is going to be a plus shadow move. Not my best stat, but a good one. Because I'm definitely not doing it with, like, if I tried to angle this towards using plus heart, that would have to be with charm, loyalty, or courage. So I could do that if I kind of retcon a little bit and say, like, I basically try and convince her, like, whoa, this isn't all that necessary. But I don't think that makes sense. I think, let's move forward. I like the idea of exploring this idea that he's just got all sorts of random crap tucked in there. Let's make some lockpicks. Besides, otherwise I wouldn't be able to use my right asset, and let's roll our plus shadow and see what happens. So we have a +1 from right. And let's see. There we go. We have another miss right now. No, I could... Nope, I rolled too well. I can't mess with this with momentum either, as we see. Oh, so close, too. I have a 6. And then God damn it, so close. Momentum is too low right now. And I was trying to increase my momentum right now, so there's nothing I can do about it. So what happens on a miss for secure an advantage? On a miss, you fail or your assumptions betray you. Pay the price. Well, the reason we can't use momentum is because +4 is not higher than 7 or 6. So remember, the way we use momentum is we burn it to cancel out things that are lower than our current momentum score. So if this were, for instance, a 3, now granted, we'd have no benefit from using momentum on that because we'd be better than a 3 anyway. But for example, we could burn our +4 momentum all the way back down to its reset value of +2 to cancel out something lower. Basically, our momentum just isn't high enough yet to get a lot of use out of it. It's unlikely to help us. Which is why we need to basically make moves to push our momentum up so that when it really matters, we're ready for it. So we fail or our assumptions betray us. Now, I don't want to say that they're back yet, because I don't think we've killed our time yet. But what's an interesting way that we could pay the price on this? Now, the most obvious one is paying the price can basically make us take hits to all sorts of stuff. Like, it can influence our various little like stats here. Now, supply is our general like what kind of items do we have available in a very broad sense. So the most obvious one I think would be exactly you broke whatever lockpick is in the keyhole. Now you can't take it. Well, we lose a supply. Like, it cost us 1 supply to get this done because dropped stuff on the floor that we were using, can't reach it. We could do that sort of thing. It's true. We could accidentally like it kind of like bends or something and then like launches through the air. Flood. I think that happens, and we lose a supply in the because I want to make sure to be harsh enough on myself. If you're not really engaging with the mechanics well enough, if you're not being a jerk and like making sure to use these sliders, then like it doesn't drive the story forward as much. So let's take down our supply, because I think it costs us a little bit of what we've got available to be able to do that. But I think we still have time. Now, the burning wheel mentality of me likes the idea that, like, you don't get to just keep making the same roll over and over again to try. Like, I don't want to just try again. That's kind of boring. There's nothing in the rules that explicitly tells me I can't do that, I don't believe. But I don't want to just be like, well, I've still got more supply. Let's try it again. Let's try and fashion a lockpick. I think maybe it's not out of reach, but it's like barely in reach. And right now what I need to do is try and get it. Try and rip it off the wall with my... Yeah, exactly. I don't have the muscles to pull that off. That's not happening. But I think whatever I've tried to make is just barely in reach, and I need to try and get it back. And so what I'm doing right now is basically a face danger move. These moves are all pretty broad and are going to be coming up a lot. So I think it's fair to say that I'm trying to use speed, agility, or precision right now because I'm attempting something risky or reacting to an imminent threat. This is the closest one to what we have. I am trying to, like, the threat here is I'm going to run out of time. So I'm trying to quickly enough, really reach with my leg to like, kick what I've got back at me so that I can fashion in time, get out of here, do all that sort of thing. So let's face danger. I'm using speed, agility, or precision, so I'm going to roll plus edge, which, same thing as my shadow. It gives me a +2 on this. But this time, my trickery and all that's not going to help me. I don't get any kind of additional bonuses. So this is going to stay a 0. Let's see what happens. Can I get this back in time? Because I think if this fails, we're starting to get into that territory where it's like, I think they're going to be back soon. I don't think this town is all that huge. It may not take all that. Well, what do you guys think? Do you want me to just roll some, like, do we want to randomly determine, like, how much time I've got? Like, how big is this town, sort of thing? Like, is it going to take a while? How far away is the doctor? I could either do this just like, what do you guys think? Or we could roll randomly to just determine, like, what do the dice say? How far away is this person? I don't think any of these are going to especially count, but rolling can be... Okay, before I do my official roll, let's see, how long do I got here? I'm just going to roll a d6 and see, generally, how much time do I think I've got? So actually a decent amount of time, because I didn't say it out loud, but the idea I had in my head was certainly the higher the roll, the more time I've got. So it's not that Gibbet is that huge of a town, I don't think. I think it's more just that, like, maybe she has to find him, he's a little bit busy, like, it's going to take some time. Now, Coyote may not be aware of this. I think in Coyote's mind, it's very desperate. He doesn't have a lot of time to do this. But we know as players, I've got a little time to fail things. Oh, you know what we could do with this? Let's treat this like a ticking clock. So I've got 5 actions. I've failed one thing. So let's say it's down to 4. I'm about to do another one. Let's just make this ticking clock on, like, how long I have to really set this up and do shit. So yeah, I think we've ticked that down to 4. This is an impromptu hack of the rule. It is not part of the rules at all. I'm making stuff up on the fly. I don't know if this is going to be well balanced or not, but let's see if it happens. So let's roll my plus edge. And I wish I could change the default spot here so it moved over here. +0. Can I get something done in this game? Come on. Okay, I got a weak hit. And my momentum, there's no reason to do anything with it. I can't make it a strong hit by canceling out this 9. But I've got a weak hit. Let's see what does weak hit say on face danger. So you succeed but face a troublesome cost. Choose one. So here's my list of things to choose from. You're delayed, lose advantage, or face a new danger, which would be suffer -1 momentum. I definitely don't want to do that. I'm trying to build up my momentum right now. What other options do I have? You are tired or hurt, endure harm. You are dispirited or afraid, endure stress. I'm leaning towards that. Or you sacrifice resources, suffer -1 supply. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. I can definitely see how this would be stressful right now. So I think I'm going to bring down my stress track, which is spirit. Besides, we can spread this out a little bit more. Metagame this a little bit to help me out. Yeah, I think it's super stressful because, like, I don't know how much time I've got. I'm, like, I'm sweating. I'm in a bad situation. My dad is, like, I mean, come on. My dad is held captive by Red Robert. This person is about to, like, could walk in at any second, and I'm manacled to their establishment. How am I going to get out of here? It's super stressful. I take a point of spirit away. But otherwise, I get it. I get the thing I'm looking for. And, so I've got it. I've got it. So now I think because let's tick my little counter down to 3. Now, because I failed the initial attempt to use my right to turn this into lockpicks, I think that I could do it right now, but I really want to get that momentum. I want to do better. So I want to take the time to still make this raw material into like a little bit better of a shape for what I need it for. I'm going to waste the time and try and secure that advantage one more time before I actually pick my way out of here. Now, I'm going to be running out, like, I'm not going to have much time left to actually try and steal from this place. But let's do it. I'm going to try and make my good lockpicks. Because these might be something that I might have for later. That could be really useful. They're not going to be a one-and-done thing unless I roll really poorly. So let's try it one more time. Individuals! Individuals, welcome! Individuals, welcome to the Jester's Court. Good to see you, over here as opposed to in Seattle. Individuals was also an enforcer. And, yeah, good to see you around. We are... If you have just joined us, we are trying to get out of a sticky situation where we are... Yes, if you have the halos, feel free to put them in chat. Hopefully that does not mean that I'm about to die as a character. And of course, you are now available to all sorts of secret subcommands that are available on my Discord if you want to check out what they are. Granted, fewer of them are relevant right now. They're more relevant in my other setup. All right, let's make our lockpicks to see if we can get out of this sticky situation and rob Roxy's before she comes back with the doctor. So one more time, I'm going to try and use my... See, like, you can do stuff like that. You can use all sorts of head animations. Now, I don't know that I can justify this as being plus shadow anymore. Last time we tried to secure an advantage with right, the real interesting thing about it was the idea that we had pulled this thing out from our, like, secret compartment, in which case shadow made sense. But that's not what's making this possible anymore. Now I think it really is more of just, like, it's the dexterity to do the thing, which is an edge thing. So I think this time we're still going to get our +1 to craft an item. They are. Yes, the head animations are active. I'm doing my typical, like, when I'm doing a game thing, where it's like they're not constantly floating around, but you can always use them. They'll pop up. So I'm going to roll plus edge on this. I get +1 because of my asset. But, yeah, it's no longer shadow. It just doesn't make sense. Let's see what happens. Can we do this? Can we start building some momentum? Because when you get the momentum rolling, it is like momentum. Like, it really helps out. Uh-oh. It is time for me to... You might notice down here it says complication. Not only did I fail this roll and get a miss, but when you roll doubles, you see how those are both 7s? It's like a critical. It could be a critical hit, or it could be a critical miss. If you get a strong hit, something really cool happens. Yeah, you go directly to jail, exactly. If it happened, I know, right? Everybody getting scared. When you roll doubles, something unexpected happens. And when it's a miss, something unexpected and bad happens. We need to find out what that is. Now, one of the things in the game that I don't know if I'm going to run with or not is the idea that the higher up the die is that you rolled, the more severe what that unexpected thing is. I don't know that I want to do that yet or not, because I don't know that I have that much granularity in my head, but let's take a look first off. What happens when we miss on secure an advantage? We should know because it just happened. You fail or your assumptions betray you, pay the price. Let's look at pay the price. Something unexpected is about to happen. Something big. I might need to use an oracle on this to get an idea, because I feel like they ride back early and the doctor is a brute that you knew from another town. There is I do like the idea of, like, you know, a new character enters into this situation. And it's got to be something bad. I don't, like, we already established it would take a little bit longer for them to get back. So I don't know that I want it to be them back with the doctor, but I do think it should be somebody, but, like, I think it should be somebody else that's back that does have it in for me. Not the doctor and Roxy, but somebody here has me at a terrible advantage. I am manacled right now. somebody else has been swindled by me and knows they've been swindled. We really should not have stuck around in town this long. It was a bad idea. So let's come up with a character here. I've got these oracles. And one of them is character role. This will tell us a little bit about what kind of character this is. It's a Roxy and Sons store. The son comes back ill from drinking something. Exactly. I am going to need the doctor. You're right. That's the one silver lining to all this is I am going to need a doctor. So let's randomly determine what kind of this person that's coming in that I have somehow run afoul of. What kind of person are they? Oh, I rolled a 0 on a D100. A traveler. Oh, it's perfect! They're not from town. They're trying to resupply. That's why they're here too. And I thought I left them behind so long ago. We pulled the caper. We were gone. They come back in. The person recognizes me. Oh my god, it's so perfect. They're from another town completely. But just random happenstance, the unlucky sevens, we ran into each other at the worst possible time. Now, I don't think they're going to try and kill me. Like, they're just a traveler. I don't think that they're immediately going to try and just, like, beat the crap out of me. But obviously, there are a set of eyes here that's, like, they're not just going to sit here and watch me steal from this place. Yeah, exactly. They might rob me. They might do something like that. So I'm going to try and turn this lemonade, turn these lemons into lemonade. Maybe not. Yeah, exactly. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Now, well, I think they do recognize me because this was indeed a bad thing. Like, this is supposed to be a crit fail. Like, it's supposed to be not, like, just bad, like, neutral fail, but, like, bad fail. Something unexpected and bad happens. So I think they do have to recognize me to just, like, play true to that result. But I don't think they're initially just, like, I think they just obviously don't like me. It's not that they're going to necessarily going to try and just, like, kill me or something. They're not that mad. But they're certainly not feeling in the mood to help me. But ever the never say die kind of guy that Coyote is, Coyote's going to try anyway. Because after all, despite being such a shithead, remember his highest stat is heart. He's kind of likable. Like, there's just like Steve Buscemi. There's just, like, there's something about him that, like, no matter how much he's, like, kind of this, like, oily sort of just, like, he does you wrong, he's charming while he does it. People just can't help but like him. Yeah, exactly. So, like, and he never gives up. He's going to try and get this guy to set him free. Because maybe he sees the keys. And he's like, hey, man, like, okay, anybody have a name for this guy? What do we want to call him? So he's from out of town. He could be from very far out of town. Like, we could have some different cultures and stuff going on out here. Like, well, hold on. I'm going to randomly determine, like, why is he in town? Let's get an idea on that. Like, character goal. Oh, we actually have character goal and character description. Oh, you guys can't see those. I don't want to have too many R names, because we already have Robert and Roxy. I want to do Reggie. O'Bannon. O'Bannon would be cool. Well, let's find out why he's in town, and let's start off with a description, actually, because that might help out with the name. So, character description. Relaxed. Oh, perfect. No wonder I'm trying. Like, I feel like whoever this is, like, they see me, and like, there's a moment where we recognize each other, and he's just, like, he's almost, like, laughing, because it's just, like, he knows what I did to him. I know what I did to him. And he's just like, he finds humor in the situation of like, that obviously shit caught up with me. So he's relaxed right now because he finds it funny, if nothing else. And let's see, why is he in town? What's a character goal? Roll wow, we're rolling. Wait, hold on. Can I roll anything? I have rolled 300s on here. The odds on that are incredible. Hold on. Am I able to... I think this might be screwed up right now. Yeah, I'm just... I checked this out before. I don't know what's going on. My oracles are messed up, so I'm going to do this manually. I have the oracles here as well. I'm going to look into that between streams. I had it working before. I don't know why they're not now. We're going to stick around with him being a relaxed person from out of town, but for his goal, let's roll that. So I've got the table right here. I'm going to roll a D100. A 27. Character goal on a 27 is cure an illness. Oh my god, he's a doctor! He's a traveling doctor. That's so perfect. He's not the doctor that Roxy was going to get. He's a different doctor. Or maybe no. Like I don't know if he should be a doctor. Well, I'm trying to think. I don't think he's like he's not here to like cure the town. But maybe one person in particular, like he came. Maybe he's like more of a priest. Yeah. Oh, and that's why he's so turning the other cheek and relaxed. He's a priest. He's not a doctor. He's a priest. He's here to cure a more supernatural kind of illness. Somebody around town has got, like, some demons. Like, they drank some demon water or whatever. They monkeyed around in the demon bush. And so they got something. He's a traveling priest. He's here to take care of it. Yes. So, Father O'Bannon is perfect. Let's write that down. Yeah, exactly. It's time to exercise some demons. We're going to call this guy Father O'Bannon. I would love to establish that... No, I was going to say... I wanted to say that I wanted to establish that I have a bond with him. But... Again, we determined this character existed because I basically had a critical fail, so again, it seems kind of disingenuous to turn that into, oh, it's a person that I'm especially friendly with. I don't think I can declare that I have a bond with Father O'Bannon. Yep, make that go away. By the way, you can forge bonds with new characters over time. In fact, it's kind of vital to eventually beating the game is to forge bonds with people. So I might try. But anyway, Father O'Bannon is here. They've got, like, they're dressed up in their, like, he's got the collar on and everything. Or, what do you guys think? Do you think it should be, because we're not in real world, should it be, like, that close to Christianity and Catholicism and all of that? Or should this, what do priests look like in this world? I want your help on this. What does a priest in the in the Western frontier look like? Because remember, the people out here have got to be kind of hardy. They're not pushovers. Is a priest like... I want some ideas. What does a priest look like? Brown robe. Oh, so they have almost like that that monk look. And by the way, when I say look like, I mean... Not even literally what they look like. It could be that too, but in a more broad sense, like, what is a priest like in this world? Like, are they all just, you know, they have their places of worship that people congregate to and they deliver sermons, kind of like a priest as we would know him? You're picturing the regular priest, collar, robe and stuff, but with a wide-brimmed hat. I mean, he certainly is traveling, so if nothing else, it seems fitting that they've got this kind of, like, very wide hat on to protect from the road. And we kind of established before there's this idea of like all this dust and stuff around. I think you should have like this wide hat and like we're gonna turn this into steampunk so fast. He's got his goggles on because he's coming. They're covered in dust. They're like a little. You can see where he's like taking his fingers. His fingers have got like little dust marks on one side of him from when he's like been continually wiping them off. No, he wouldn't do that. He'd have like, he has like a cloth. He has a cloth he's been doing that with. That's in his pocket. Steampunk priest. Yeah, exactly. So we've got and how typical do you guys think it is that a priest is traveling like this? Is that like a trope here, like the traveling priest? Or is this a little unusual that a priest would leave their community? I kind of want to lean towards it being unusual. It's true. I mean, yes, he was sent there for the demons, but, like, that could still be a more typical thing where it's like, yeah, they travel around and he got word of it. You know, the priest listens to people who have broken their vow. Oh, Oh, that's great. I'm going to write that down. Like, as one of the duties they do. Like, console people who've broken their vows. Yes, I'm writing that. Priests are known to listen to / console vow breakers. It's a good idea. As a kind of confession. That's cool. Maybe he has something else on his agenda. Yeah, it could be something like that going on as well. So anyway, we've dicked around for a while here on establishing the idea of Father O'Bannon. Coyote is going to have to try and get Father O'Bannon. He's going to try and compel him to release him. And he's going to be a shithead about it. He's going to trick. He's going to lean into this trickster, and he's going to lie. He is going to say, he's going to not tell the whole truth about how Roxy set him up. Because remember, he looks injured, and he's held up here. And he's going to lie and say, Father O'Bannon, Roxy, I don't have much time. She's coming back with more people. She beat me up. She's going to kill me, Father. You got to let me go. Look at the keys over there. He's going to try and trick him into thinking that Roxy is the shithead here. Roxy locked him up. Is going to try and kill him. He's going to try and trick him. He's going to try and compel him into releasing him by lying. So I get the +1. I get to roll my shadow, +1. Let's see. One of the first things I do to this game, we establish like this cool priest. First thing we're going to do is lie to a priest. It's perfect. There's my +1. Let's see what happens. Can I please succeed at something, please? Coyote, have it. Like, we succeeded at our first roll. It was great. All right, let's see. There we go. A strong hit. I'm the Michael Jordan of lying to priests. Strong hit. Perfect. Okay. I want to turn this into, like, we're going to forge a bond with this priest eventually. This is going to be the first step along the way. So, strong hit on Compel obviously means he's going to do what we want. But I think there's a little bit more to it. So, I got my +1 on that. On a strong hit, they'll do what you want or share what they know or like whatever you're trying to get them to do. Take +1 momentum. Dun, 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 dun. Move that up to a +5. If you use this to gather information, make that move now. Okay, that's not what I'm doing. So basically, what I want happens and my momentum increases. Perfect. Now we got to be running out of time now. I think by the time he gets those keys and gets me out of here, like, we're almost out of time, which is fitting because I, as a streamer, am almost out of time for this 2-hour stream. We are 8 minutes away. I want to cap off this scene here before we end. I want to reach this milestone of, like, one way or the other, I'm getting this weapon. So, Father O'Bannon released me. I think I have time for just, like, one more thing before they get back if we've been counting down the way we talked about. So, Coyote seizes opportunity. I think... Here's the thing. I think I could try and steal a weapon right now as a last thing. But I'd be doing that right in front of the priest. Yeah, I'd make it... Like, it would be hard to pull that off as, like, what's going on? I don't think I have time to, like, explain myself and then do it. So, I'm going to just rely on maybe explaining myself later. And, let's see, what kind of... I need to look at what moves it would be. You have to go, unfortunately, running late. Okay, I'm glad you enjoyed Psycho Pompey. Again, this will be every Saturday at this time, and we're wrapping things up anyway. If you want to see the end, this will be on my YouTube page, which is the Midnight Jester. No 8. So you can see the very end of how this goes on there, if you want to catch up. All of these will be on there. Anyway, let's see, what kind of... I'm looking at the roles of what would be most fitting for, like, finding a weapon here. Like, I think what it is, it might be secure and advantage because, let's see, when you assess a situation, make preparations, or attempt to gain leverage. I'm looking at that. Oh. Well, here we go. I could leave with the priest. I don't know if I have time for that. I could do this as a resupply move, which is when you hunt, forage, or scavenge, which is kind of what I'm doing, but that's not quite right. I'm not really scavenging. I'm just stealing. Again, I'm not... It's been a while since I've looked at these moves, so sorry for the... It's taking a little bit of time. I'm near certain that what I'm really doing is, yeah, I'm securing an advance. No, you know what? It's either. It's not. This is really about like increasing my supply. Like if I were scavenging enough to like put more supplies in my, because that move is all about increasing my supply back up, which would be the things like, you know, if I were stealing from here like a bunch of well, maybe she's got all sorts of stuff I can steal from here. I was gonna say if I'm getting like food and like stuff for the dusty trail and all of that. Yeah, fuck it. Let's resupply with this. Because the results on here are strong hit, you bolster your resources, take +2 supply, weak hit. Here's the thing, I kind of don't want to resupply because I roll my wits for that to find things that I want, and my wits are terrible. But yeah, securing advantage just isn't quite right. The closest thing would either be resupply or face danger. But I don't think what I'm doing right now is risky enough to qualify as face danger. Let's do it as a resupply. I need to find in time the weapon I'm looking for. So let's do it. Let's roll my plus wits. This is probably going to be one of the last things I do here. See if I can find something in time. So I don't have anything to add to this. So let's just roll and see what happens. It's plus wits. It's probably going to be a miss. Let's see. There it is. Now, actually, I rolled well, but unfortunately, I rolled well on all of my dice. God damn. The green border, by the way, is just it saying that that's the maximum you could roll on that die. So I rolled as best as I could, but I rolled almost 2 10s on that. It's just, I just can't catch a break today. Or I can catch one break when priests are involved. So on a miss, you find nothing helpful. Pay the price. I think the most obvious price here. They come back when I'm rummaging through her shit. Roxy and the doctor come back. They see that I'm out of my manacles, for one. I've escaped from that. I'm rummaging through her shit trying to find what I need. It's a bad spot to be in. You don't want to be seen doing this. Oh, and you know what? I think what we're going to do here, let's cliffhanger this a little bit. I think my eyes look up. I hear the door open and they come in. I'm caught red-handed. I look at them in the face. She gasps and is like, we're going to find out what happens next time. Now, I'm going to declare that I have reached a milestone on this journey because whatever happens, we've reached kind of a waypoint. We may be taking this in a different direction. I didn't find what I was looking for, but shit happened. Let's declare that I reached a milestone to get this on its way. Actually, I don't know. I'm split on that. Because, like, if I had gotten a weapon, a milestone would make complete sense. If she had... Like, if we resolved this scene and she locked me up or something, or sent me to jail, a milestone would make sense. But since we're in the middle of this, I don't know if I've earned a milestone. What do you guys think? Is this a milestone, or have I not really resolved anything enough to make this make sense? I'm willing to go with either, but my current leaning is maybe I haven't earned a milestone yet. It's not resolved. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think we're at the cliffhanger. But yeah, it's not a milestone. We're no closer to stealing from the caravan. Exactly. We've had an interesting thing happen, but we have not had a milestone. So anyway, cool. That's where we're going to leave off for tonight. I hope you guys have very much enjoyed this first exploration into my little Western version of Ironsworn. Again, the main game is not intended to be a Western, but it just fits so well for it that I wanted to give it a try. I hope you guys have enjoyed. This is going to be a new Saturday thing at this time. Again, the VODs are going to be on YouTube if you miss one, if you want to check out. I hope you're excited to see where this, as that is down there, excited to see where this story continues. And remember, if you liked what you were watching tonight and you're like, that sounds like a really cool game. I liked the way that we were able to do this without a DM, and like I want to play my own game of Ironsworn, potentially in the West, potentially not. I want you to do something for me right now. I want you to go to this website that I just put into the chat right now, ironswornrpg.com. I sure am loving it so far. It is a 100% free RPG. All of the rules of what I'm doing right now, all of the assets, everything about it is released for free. It has got a really great design. It has got a, the rules are so well refined and cool. It is made such that it's going to make interesting stories, at least so far in my experience. It has done a great job on what it promises to do. The game is called Ironsworn. It is not initially set in the West, but as you can see, it works pretty well for it. PDF is free. If you really like the book, you can do what I'm planning on doing and buying a hard copy of it, because I do want to support it. It's really cool. But I think that is it for tonight. So I will be back tomorrow for the Sunday stream, the 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be doing 4 hours of cello requests, followed by an after party of some kind of gaming. Not like this kind of gaming, but some vidgy games. You know how after parties work. That'll be tomorrow, 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. Hope to see some of you there. And I definitely hope to see some of you next week, so you can, the more like people that we have that have been around the whole time, the more we'll be able to like continue the story and have things feel real, where it's like, you know how this story has gone, you know the characters, you've seen it. Cool, yeah. Well, I will see you guys next time for some more Ironsworn, and start your own games. Let me know how they go. I'm so eager to hear about your experiences and stuff. Post about them in my Discord. Or any RPGs you're playing. I love RPGs, so tell me about your playthroughs, and join me next time. Bye, everybody.